The Nintendo Switch has truly had an incredible lifespan, even able to compete and debatably outclass the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, despite not leaning toward the graphic side of the spectrum, instead opting toward the more unique style of gameplay and the portability of the Switch as its bargaining chip. And this method seems to be the ideal choice, seeing that this allows Nintendo to pump out more first-party titles while still being able to dabble in a slew of third-party titles as well, alongside remakes and remasters. With the recent Direct now behind us and the Switch's successor now on the horizon, this is indeed a fine time to showcase lesser-known franchises and series to be able to give them more relevance. And that brings me to today's topic. What's up guys, Tactics here, and today I'm going to be breaking down one of the games from the June Direct that appeared out of pretty much thin air, being Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven. Honestly, I really didn't know much about the series until very recently, but since it seems to be a complete rework of the series brought into the modern era, it certainly needs to be addressed. And for anyone out there who may not be familiar with the series as well, I will do my best to provide some more context of the game in particular and more background information of the series as a whole, and then I'll cap things off with my general thoughts and everything. If there are details that I might overlook or may get wrong, I apologize in advance and feel free to correct me. So let's stop wasting time and dive right into it with a little bit of background info to paint a better idea of how the Romancing Saga games distinguishes itself from other RPGs. The Saga franchise is a long-standing series of free-form player choice-centric role-playing games produced by Square Enix. The series is uniquely known for its emphasis on exploration, non-linear branching plots, and occasionally unconventional gameplay, and we will talk more about the unconventional gameplay elements a little bit later. There are over a dozen of these games in the Saga franchise, each with their own unique and standalone stories, so you don't have to be familiar with the series to be able to enjoy these games in particular. The first entry in the series was the Final Fantasy Legend, which was released for the Game Boy in December in Japan as Makai Toshi Saga. It was the first ever RPG ever released for a handheld gaming system, breaking new ground for portable gaming, and the first Square title to sell over 1 million units. Pretty interesting detail when you consider what the Switch itself represents, being a portable system. Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven is a complete 3D remake of the original Romancing Saga 2, first released in 1993 in Japan. The story involves wars fought between the Imperial line of Varens and the 7 heroes of ancient myth, as well as all the unique and groundbreaking mechanics from the Saga franchise, such as glimmers and formations. So from what I'm gathering here, it seems that the player and all your companions are technically sort of like the bad guys, or sort of like the good guys have gone bad and you've got to pretty much put a stop to them. This remake reworks the battle and character growth systems and adds in numerous new features such as difficulty selection, Japanese and English voice acting, both original and the rearranged music, and much more. Last but not least, the expansive world of Romancing Saga 2 and its various characters originally depicted using 2D pixel graphics has been fully updated to gorgeous 3D. Now, I'm not a graphics guy by any means, but from what I've gathered here, it seems like the graphics are sort of cel shaded, so you won't be seeing any real shiny looking stuff like you do in some other games, but it still looks pretty good to me. But what about the gameplay? What can you expect to be doing in this game? But before we get into that, I would really appreciate it if you guys could hit that like button for me if you're enjoying the video so far, and maybe even subscribe for more RPG related topics like this. It really does help me out a bunch. Thanks guys. Alright, now back to the video. Now going back to what I said earlier, the game has a strong emphasis on exploration. It even shows a world map where it seems like you will have to explore each part of it and maybe bring that part of the map under your control. The best part of all of that is it seems like you can tackle these areas in any order that you want, giving each subsequent playthrough its own unique experience. But the interesting mechanics don't stop there, as there is a system in the Saga games that involves generational inheritance. In other words, you, as the king, will eventually have to pass your legacy on to the next generation by appointing a new ruler once your main character is no longer able to continue his conquests. So how can you tell when your character is about to expire? Well, I think it has something to do with this number right here that says LP. I think this is your life points, and once it drops to 0, you will enter into a transition phase where you have to choose another character to take over the kingdom. This one mechanic alone is vastly different from most RPGs that makes it worth giving a try. The only other game I can think of that has a similar mechanic would be like Live Alive, but probably more so with the Record of the Agarest War series. In that game, you play a linear story, but at the end of your character's journey, you have to choose one of 3 women to bear your child to carry on your lineage. Of course, this game incorporates a dating sim mechanic, which is a nice chunk of the game that involves getting to know all your companions, including the 3 lovely ladies, before making your choice. However, I can't say if the Saga games has anything like that in it, especially when I believe that the game allows you to actually abdicate the throne to a retainer. As for the battle system, it looks like it will feature a timeline system of when characters are able to attack. This could be affected in many ways, like delaying enemy turns, or of course through the speed stat. Characters themselves can use weapons that have skills attached to them that after using that weapon for a set amount of time will master or unlock said skill through what is known as glimmers, and that is probably the little light bulb that appears over their head. Formation plays a key role in battles as well, seeing that they come with their own stat boosts during these battles. Every character has a powerful attack called an overdrive, which requires the gauge to be filled before they can perform it, and they even have united attacks to deal extra damage. There also appears to be elements in the game where hitting an enemy with its weakness will deal more damage. Overall, I think there will be a lot to chew on with this game, and even though it may not seem all that big of a reveal compared to many other games in the direct like Metroid or Mario, I think this game could potentially be what this series needed in order for it to come to the surface for more people to witness it in all of its glory. But we will have to wait and see just how well Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven does with reviews when it releases for the Switch on October 24th. But what do you guys think about this game? Has anything I mentioned piqued your interest about it? Or are you still on the fence a little about this game? Let me know in the comments below. And there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smash that like button for me and maybe even subscribe if you're feeling even more generous for more content like this and other RPG related topics. It really does help me out a lot. Either way, I appreciate it all the same, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.